Should we have some questions now from the audience? Do we have... Oh, straight away.
You said about creatives being pitches, how important that is. Do you think there's some great creatives who are not so good at pitching?
Oh yeah, I mean, brilliant. I mean, there are some who just can't put three words together. I mean, you know, it's just hopeless. But actually, but you can, in a way, you can get them to pitch and get them, and you've got to give them some coaching and just say, don't worry about it. You know, it doesn't matter. You are saying something that client can't, you're doing something that client can't do. In the end, everybody in this room, the client company could actually replicate. They could get a planner, they could have good account management, they could get good process people, they could do all this. The one thing they can't do is they can't come up with that brilliant idea, and you represent that. So you've got to give them that confidence. And so you've got to coach them in and get them to pitch and talk about the work the way they like to talk about it. You know, don't force them into doing it your way. Do it, you know, their way. And I think it is fundamentally important. You know, I say you cannot have a creative business without creative people being at the top of it. It's just, I mean, I know it sounds stupid to say it, but, you know, number of agencies, you know, don't do it. That's where Walt Disney went wrong. I had a great conversation with John Lasseter about that. When he went back, he was, you know, and he's the man who started Pixar. And he makes the point about Walt Disney. He said Walt Disney dies and they forget that they were a creative company. Stop doing creative things. They get a whole lot of producers to run the company, and no wonder it gets, you know, they have to buy Pixar to save them. This lady here.
John.
Hi, you said about strategy overriding creativity during your dry spells. It would be great if you could explain that further, because at the beginning you also said that usually the problem with the client is usually with their strategies.
Well, I always think, you know, I've written a book and I've called it Turning Intelligence into Magic. And the reason I did that is because that's really what we do. And the problem happens that sometimes you miss the magic. And when you do that, the intelligence will move in and it will take over. And you've got to be very, very careful about that when you're running an agency, that it's so important that the magic is sustained and that you keep focusing on the magic. You need the intelligence. The intelligence is going to get you into a wonderful place. It's going to point you in a different direction. But without the magic, it's no good. And the problem with the intelligence people is, given half a chance, they'll fill the magic spot, especially if they see a vacuum. You know, it's like that thing you learned in chemistry, a gas will fill a vacuum. That is the, and you're a marketing consultancy before you know it. And you're really boring.
I was racking my brains all night trying to, well, Sam knows, just make it perfect, make sure that my presentation's perfect. I just want to know, is it always going to be this way?
I'm afraid it is, until you've got that reel that you can put on where they go, oh my God, you did that. Oh my God, you did that. Oh my God, you did that. Actually, one of the things when we opened in the States, I remember, and I was there, I helped open the office, and we'd go along to see clients and say, hi, hello, this is Bartleby Hegarty, and we'd like to talk to you about our work, and da-da-da-da, and I could see their eyes glazing over. You know, who the hell we were from a hole in the ground. Who? Funny, Bartle, what, who's that, you know? And I always remember there's a lovely story about Attenborough when he made Gandhi, the movie, and it had to be really, really big in America to make its money back. And of course, you know, with all due respect to Americans, they wouldn't have known who Gandhi was from a hole in the ground, you know, a bloke in a loincloth with twiglet legs. I mean, who? You know, Gandhi, never heard of him. And so what he did was he started the film with Gandhi's funeral. And when 10 million people turn up to your funeral, the audience goes, shit, who was this guy? I better pay attention. Yeah. And so what we did is we said, we'd walk in and we'd go, hi, before we say anything, I'm just going to play these 10 commercials. And then they went, oh, you did that. Oh, you did. I didn't know you did. You did that. Oh, you did. And then all of a sudden, the conversation changed. All roads lead to the work. And it's, you know, it's a great way. Before we say anything, I want to play this. And you are then in control of the dialogue and control of the debate, not them. But yes, they're always going to be like that.
It's always going to be 2 hours sleep.
It's always going to be 2 hours sleep. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Even when you go, let's pretend we're pitching on Friday, but it's really the following Thursday. No. Somebody will go in and go, I think we could redo it all over the weekend. Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is get to a point of view very, very quickly. Get to a point of view very quickly. And you've got to, the other thing in a pitch, I would say, is one person has got to decide. As soon as you get, well, I don't know, fuck off out. Look, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. That's it. It's like that old thing if you're an army. That's the hill, not that one, that one. And we're all attacking that hill. That's it. And the danger, and I've heard this from other agencies, is that, somebody very senior comes in and says, well, I think you haven't got it right here. Sorry, you weren't in the meeting, go away. That's what we're doing. Now, you can advise us on a couple of things, but we ain't changing it. And that's hugely, hugely destructive and obviously very dangerous, and you will lose the pitch. So, decision very quickly. Get there,
I'm just wondering, in your kind of experience, do you find kind of getting two different creative teams at the start to kind of work separately kind of creates a better kind of creative idea for that pitch, or do you find it's...
Well, it's not necessarily that it'll create a better idea, but I do think today, finding that magic is harder than ever it's been, because you really have got to find a kind of a spark. And so we do put a number of creative teams, working on those pitches just to see what they come up with. And it's interesting to see how they will, we get to the strategy very, very quickly. We'll get to the strategy and have a point of view about it and then get it briefed in so we can do very interesting work. And we will talk to a number of people. We won't make them all sit in a room. I mean, brainstorming is one of the world's greatest nonsenses. But, if you want to do average work, have a brainstorming session, But if you want to do something truly brilliant, then you get small groups of people working on it. Brainstormers never, ever in the history of the world produced anything truly great. It's produced average. If you want to do average, that's good. If you like average, wonderful. But it's never produced anything great.
Who's next?
Danny Boyle, he didn't have a group, did he? He just said, this is what we're doing. And everybody's talking about it.
Here we go.
Have you found failure transformative in your career?
No. Never dwell on failure. Never dwell on failure.
Maybe what's the best failure you've had?
Oh, I've had so much. I mean, why? I mean, trouble is, if I was to dwell on failure, I wouldn't get up and do it again, I mean, you're a bit like that high wire artist, aren't you? Who's on the high wire. If he trips, you've got to get back on and keep going. Otherwise, you'll never get back on. And failure, people say failure is the windows to opportunity, and you go, yeah, okay. I mean, obviously, if we're not winning, we go, look, we're doing something wrong here. But I mean, I think this thing about I'll focus, it's just no, focus on winning. It's much better. It's more fun too.
Do you ever walk away midway through a pitch because you feel you just can't do it? It's not there. The chemistry, the swagger, whatever it might be. Do you ever kind of go this?
No, we nearly did it on, as I said, on leaving. No, not really, because by the time we've got to the pitch, we have gone through. I mean, again, as I say, in the early days, we'd never had any government business because we wouldn't do speculative creative work. So, that practice did stop, us winning bits of business. But as I said, I think having a point of view, having a philosophy, having something that people can look at and go, I see, that's what you believe in, is fundamentally important. So by the time you get to the pitch, you're self-selecting.
Oh, another one. You say.
Two for the price of one.
Yeah,
Is that
how about
BFM,
that?
this?
Yeah.
What happens when your clients request stuff that doesn't match those principles that you use strongly? Have you ever walked away from a client?
Yeah, you would do then. Yeah. You just go, sorry. That's not what we do. And, it's very important that it's very important that you understand the question they're asking. Because sometimes people can say things in sort of odd ways, and you've really got to get to understand, what they're saying when they say those things to you. But yeah, we've walked away from. Yeah, you've got to, and you will get huge benefit. Your people in your agency will really go, wow, they really believe in what they say. Our business is past masters at, agreeing with everything the client says and, melding ourselves. We've got to win this, so therefore agree with everything they say. I mean, it's just dreadful. God, and clients know it, right at the back.
And how do you assess whether to go for a piece of business or not?
How do I assess?
Assess whether to go for a piece of business.
Well, first of all, have you got space for them? Problem what we have now is that we're blocked out of so many markets. I mean, I think that, we always said, for us, do they really value advertising as opposed to it's something they have to do? I think it's really important. If they want to kind of, a lot of people don't believe in advertising even though they do it, which means that it's relegated to somebody who doesn't take it very seriously. I mean, is there an appetite for doing something different, even though they say it? And I think is there market opportunity? You've got to be honest and say, is there market opportunity for this? We used to really quite like pitching for brands who weren't doing very well. That was there was one point that we were doing that quite a lot, and actually we quite enjoyed it because they really did have to, it was one throw of the dice, and then so you have to do something daring. That's a good option. It's hard to put a formula down on it. You just have to look at the people and are they interesting? Do they really want to do something different? Are they going to listen to you? Are they set in their ways? Do they have, I remember once we were approached by Wrigley's to work with them, and they came in and they said, we really love your work on Levi's. We think it's absolutely brilliant. It's talking to young people. That's exactly what we've got to do. And and then we spend all this money on advertising and it's not breaking through. And by the way, here are the 6 rules you have to apply if you're working on Wrigley. And we said, thank you very much. Goodbye. We didn't, it was just hopeless, just absolutely hopeless. They actually had a way of peeling the Wrigley's gum back and putting it in your mouth. It was called loading. You did what? Can you talk me through that again? Loading,
Sounds
No,
awful.
I mean, so, you have to be, you just have to say, is it going to further our new business? Is it going to further our ability to compete? No.
Last couple. Who hasn't had one? So I'm just conscious of people who've been
Lady
waiting a
there.
long time.
How much time before the pitch do you sort of spend working out people's personalities that are in the pitch room?
Oh, none at all. I can't work it out. I can't. Don't. I mean, that's a hopeless game. Hopeless game. You're bound to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Bound to get it wrong. Oh, I think he likes X, or he likes Y, or she likes that. One thing you could do, and I'm giving away secrets here, but you could do, one of the things that we do is that we have somebody, because you deal a lot with pitch consultants these days, we have somebody who is not part of the pitch, but talks to the pitch consultant about how do you think it's going. And so they're not part of the pitch, but they say, what do you think? Is it, it's going well? Is it, and they will often say to you, well, it is, you've done very well on this, you've done that, but do that. And that's very useful because they feel if they talk to the people in the pitch, they'll demotivate them, but they can talk to somebody outside. So that's a clever little trick I give to you for nothing. I'll be given a hard time for telling you about that, but one more question. The gentleman back there.
I hear you don't like tissue meetings.
I fucking hate tissue meetings, yeah.
They're normally optional, aren't they?
Yeah.
In the process. So does that mean BBH elects not to do?
We do them in the pre-strategy. They'll do a strategy tissue meeting. Could go there, could there. But I think, in creatively, I mean, and I'll be absolutely honest with you, there are some clients who demand it, and you kind of go, oh, okay, if you want to do it, but it's a complete waste of time. I mean, You know, if you're trying to create magic, you can't go, well, this is half magical as an idea, and this is 3/4 magical as an idea. This might be magical as an idea, and that's what you're trying to do. Again, if you want to kind of create something predictable, then when it comes to creative work, do tissue meetings. I mean, it's a sort of nonsense that's grown up to sort of, you know, try and please clients. And the best way of pleasing clients, and somebody said, I want to please clients. I said, I'm not interested in pleasing clients. I'm interested in producing a stunning piece of work that has an impact on their business. Whether they're pleased or not, I don't give a shit. And I tell them that. I don't give a shit whether you like it or not. What I care for is it going to change your business? And I actually quite like you for saying that. I mean, you know, they're not, but they'll go in 6 months anyway, and the next person will come and say, well, that was a piece of shit. And then you've lost the business, and then, you know, so what have you done? Be truthful to your work. That's the only thing you should be truthful to, your work.
Well, there you have it. It's 8 o'clock, so we're going to wrap it up there. But John, thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thank you.